The nebula grew quiet after the battle. Broken reaver ships floated like dead insects among the gas clouds. Zathari repair teams worked fast. They sealed hull holes. They replaced burned wires. They brought power back, section by section. The flagship still hurt, but it lived. And it moved forward again. Queen Vera stood on the observation deck. The big window showed stars clear now. No more thick dust. No more hiding enemies. She wore no armor today, just her dark shell and a simple robe. The chain still linked her wrist to Daniel's. It felt different now. Not heavy, not a chain of show, a quiet promise. Daniel stood beside her. He looked tired, dark lines under his eyes. His hands had small burns from the pulse work, but he stood straight. He watched the stars too. Vera spoke first. The Reavers are running. Scouts say they head toward the outer rim. They will regroup, but not soon. Daniel nodded. Good. Time to breathe. Gold eyes studied him. You gave us that time. One man, one idea, one moment. Daniel shook his head slow. Not one man. The whole ship listened when it mattered. Your warriors fought. Your engineers fixed. I just connected the pieces. Vera made a soft sound. Not a laugh. Something warmer. You still speak small, even now. He smiled a little. Habit. They stood in silence for a while. The ship hummed around them. Soft sounds of work, voices far away, life going on. Vera touched the chain. I want to remove this, she said. Daniel looked at her, surprised. Not to end the bond, she added quick. To change it. No more symbol for others to see. Just between us, if you want. Daniel thought. Then he lifted his arm. Yes. Vera used one sharp claw. Careful. She cut the thin metal. It fell to the floor with a small clink. She picked it up, held it in her palm. To remember. Daniel rubbed his wrist. No mark left. Thank you. She looked at him long. I was wrong about many things. About humans. About strength. About you. Daniel met her eyes. You were scared. War does that. Makes us see only what we expect. Vera nodded slow. I expected a loud mate. A fighter. Someone to match my roar. I did not expect quiet. I did not expect patience. Or clever hands that build in the dark. She stepped closer. Her tall body bent a little so their faces were nearer. I see you now, she said. Not as a token, not as a shadow, as Daniel, the man who saved my people and changed my heart. Daniel swallowed. I came here to help stop the Reavers. Nothing more. Vera smiled. Small, real. You did more. You helped me see. That is bigger than any battle. She reached out. Her claw touched his cheek. Gentle. No scratch. Just warm shell against skin. I want to learn more, she said. About your world. Your people. Your quiet ways. Daniel placed his hand over hers. And I want to learn yours. Your strength. Your fire. Your loyalty. They stood like that. Close. The stars moved slow behind them. Later, on the bridge, Vera called everyone. Generals, engineers, warriors, even the young ones who once laughed. They filled the room. Vera stood tall. Daniel at her side, not behind, not hidden, beside. My warriors, she began. We won a battle, but the war goes on. The Reavers still live. They will come again, stronger, angrier. She looked around. But we are different now. We fight smarter. We listen better. We do not mock what we do not understand. She placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. This man stood quiet while we roared. He built while we waited. When our shields failed and our guns went dark, he gave us light. He gave us victory. The room stayed quiet, respectful. Vera continued. From today, Daniel sits at my council table. His word carries weight. His ideas will shape our plans. He is not just my mate. He is our ally, our friend. Treat him as you treat me. Warriors hit their chests. The sound rolled strong. Not forced, real. Kale stepped forward. He bowed deep. We hear you, my queen, and we honor Daniel. Others followed, one by one. Even the young warrior who once challenged him came. He knelt. I ask to serve under you, he said to Daniel. Teach me your ways. Daniel looked at him. Stand up. We learn together. The warrior rose, eyes bright. After the meeting, Vera and Daniel walked the halls. Warriors nodded as they passed. Some smiled. No mockery left. They went to the engineering bay, the place Daniel spent so many nights. Tools still lay on his desk. Wires, small screens. The black box, now broken, sat in a corner. Engineers gathered. They looked at Daniel different now. Not with doubt, with hope. Show us more, one said. The router. Everything. Daniel nodded. We start small. Fix what is broken first. Then build new. He picked up a tool. Started to explain. Simple words. Clear steps. They listened close. Vera watched from the door. Pride in her eyes. Days turned to weeks. The fleet chased the reavers. Small fights. Quick wins. Daniel helped plan each one. He found weak points. Suggested traps. His quiet voice became trusted. Vera changed too. She listened more. She asked questions. She laughed less loud, more warm. One night, in her chambers, they sat together. No throne, just two chairs, a small table between. Human coffee, Zethari spiced tea. Vera sipped, made a face. Still strange. Daniel laughed soft. You get used to it. She set the cup down. Tell me about your home, the small town. Daniel leaned back. Quiet place, fields, rivers, people who fix tractors and bake bread. No big wars, just hard work. Sounds peaceful. It was, he said, until the reavers came close. Then we had to choose, hide or fight. You chose fight, she said. In my way, he answered. Vera reached across, took his hand. I am glad you chose this ship. Daniel squeezed back. Me too. Outside, the stars kept moving. The war still waited, but hope grew stronger. Months later, the final push came. The reavers made one last stand at a dead system. No planets left, just rocks and dark. The Zethari fleet arrived strong. Human ships joined too. Earth sent more after the news spread. Daniel's name traveled far. In the last battle, Vera led from the front, Daniel on the bridge. They worked as one. Her roar, his calm. Together, unstoppable. The Reaver Corps shattered. Their swarm died for good. When it ended, silence filled space. Real peace. On the flagship, Vera and Daniel stood on the observation deck again. It is over. He nodded. Almost. Now we rebuild. Vera smiled. Together. Daniel looked at the stars. Endless. Bright. Yes, he said. Together. She pulled him close, her arm around his shoulders, his around her waist. No chain needed anymore. The quiet mate and the fierce queen. Equals. Partners. And the galaxy learned a new truth. Never mock the quiet ones. Their power waits, patient, strong, ready. When the moment comes, it turns everything. And nothing is ever the same again. The royal flagship moved smoothly through space toward the Vexari homeworld. Inside the medical bay, soft blue lights glowed over the beds. Machines hummed quietly as they worked to heal Ethan Hayes. His body lay still under thin sheets. Bandages covered his chest, back, and leg. Tubes carried clear fluid into his arm. The doctor said he would live, but the pain would stay for many days. Princess Leela Voss sat on a small chair beside his bed. She had not left the bay for long since they brought him in. Her silver robes looked a little wrinkled now. Her violet eyes watched Ethan's face. He slept most of the time because of the strong medicine. When he opened his eyes, they were tired but clear. A Vexari doctor walked in. He was older, with faint lines on his blue-gray skin. "The human is strong," he said. "His bones knit faster than we expected. The burns heal well. He will wake soon. Please tell me when he can have visitors for longer." The doctor left. Lila stayed. She thought about the attack again, the loud bangs, the smoke, the way Ethan jumped in front of her. 3 energy blasts hit him because he chose to protect her. No Vexari guard had ever done that. They fought well, but they stayed back to keep their own lives safe. Ethan did not. He stood like a wall. Ethan moved a little. His eyes opened slowly. He looked around, then saw Lila. "Princess," he said in a rough voice, "you're here." Lila leaned closer. "Of course I am here. You saved my life. The least I can do is sit with you." Ethan tried to sit up. Pain shot through his chest. He stopped and breathed slowly. "No need to stay. I'm fine. Just need rest." "You are not fine," Lila said softly. "You have holes in your body from energy blasts. You almost died." Ethan gave a small smile. "Once on Earth, I broke my arm in 3 places and still finished the job." Lila looked surprised. "You speak of pain like it is nothing." "Not nothing," Ethan said. "Just part of the work sometimes." A nurse came in with a tray. She placed a cup of warm liquid next to Ethan. "Drink this. It helps with healing." Ethan took the cup with his good hand. He drank slowly. The taste was strange, like sweet herbs mixed with metal, but it felt good going down. Lila watched him. "Tell me about Earth," she said. "I have read reports, but I want to hear from you." Ethan thought for a moment. "Earth is loud, busy, full of people who argue a lot. But we build things. We fight when we have to. We keep going even when it hurts." Lila listened carefully. "My people do not fight the same way. We use our minds more. We try to avoid pain. We think long before we act." "That's smart," Ethan said. "But sometimes you have to act fast. No time to think." Lila looked down at her hands. "In the hall, when the rebels came, I froze for a second. My guards moved, but you moved faster. You did not think. You just acted." "I trained for years," Ethan said. "Old habits." "No," Lila said. "It was more than training. You chose my life over yours." Ethan looked away. "That's the job." Lila shook her head. "Not every guard would do it, not even my best ones." They sat quietly for a while. The ship made soft sounds around them. Stars passed slowly outside the small window. Later that day, Lila came back with a small box. She opened it and took out a thin silver chain with a small purple stone. "This is a Vexari healing charm," she said. "It does not fix wounds like your medicine, but it helps the mind stay calm." She placed it around Ethan's neck. Her fingers were gentle. The stone felt cool against his skin. "It's nice." Leela smiled for the first time since the attack. "You do not have to wear it if you do not want to." "I'll keep it," he said. Days passed. Ethan got stronger. He could sit up now without too much pain. Leela visited every day. Sometimes she brought food from the royal kitchen. Vexari food was light and full of colors. Soft fruits, clear soups, thin breads. Ethan tried it all. He said it tasted strange, but good. One evening, Leela told him about her life. "I am the only child," she said. "My mother, Queen Alara, rules the empire. She wants me to be ready to take her place one day, but the rebels grow stronger. They want to break the Empire apart. I am afraid sometimes. Ethan listened. Fear is normal, he said. The trick is not to let it stop you. Leela looked at him. You do not seem afraid. I get scared, Ethan said, but I push through it. Everyone does, in their own way. You make it sound simple. It is not simple, Ethan said, but it works. The next day, Ethan tried to stand. His legs shook at first. Lila stood close in case he fell. He took slow steps across the room. Sweat came on his face from the effort. You are pushing too hard, Lila said. Have to, Ethan answered. Can't stay in bed forever. He made it to the window. He looked out at the stars. Pretty view, he said. Lila stood beside him. It is the same view every day, but today it feels different. Ethan turned to her. Because you're safe. Lila met his eyes. Because of you. Word spread through the ship. The crew talked about the human who saved the princess. Guards who saw the fight told the story again and again. They said Ethan took hits that would kill most Vexari. They said he fought like he did not feel pain. Some laughed and called it human madness. Others looked thoughtful. One guard, a young Vexari named Kale, came to visit Ethan. I was there, he said. You saved us all. Thank you. Ethan shook his head. You fought too. We all did what we could. Kale looked serious. Not like you. You stood when others would run. Ethan did not know what to say. He just nodded. Leela watched from the door. She felt proud, not just because Ethan saved her, but because he made others see humans in a new way. For so long, her people thought humans were weak and short-lived. Now they saw something else, strength that did not break. As the days went on, Leela and Ethan talked more. She told him about Vexari music, soft sounds that carried thoughts. He told her about Earth songs, loud and full of feeling. One night, he hummed an old song his mother used to sing. Leela listened with her eyes closed. She said it felt warm. The bond grew slowly. It was not loud or fast. It was quiet, like two people finding trust after danger. Leela felt safe near him. Ethan felt needed in a way he had not felt for a long time. The ship moved closer to the homeworld. Soon they would arrive at the palace. But for now, in the medical bay, something new was starting. A princess and a human guard were learning about each other. Gratitude turned into something deeper. Ethan Hayes left the medical bay on the 15th day after the attack. He walked slowly, but his steps were steady. The doctor said he still needed rest, but he refused to stay in bed any longer. His uniform was new and clean, but scars showed under the collar where the burns had healed. The purple healing charm from Lila hung around his neck. He touched it sometimes without thinking. Princess Lila waited for him in the wide hallway outside the bay. She wore a lighter robe today, pale blue with silver threads. Her violet eyes lit up when she saw him. You look stronger, she said. I feel stronger, Ethan replied, thanks to the doctors, and to you. Lila smiled. Come, walk with me. The ship is quiet now. They walked together through the long corridors. The royal flagship was huge, like a small city in space. Soft lights glowed along the walls. Crew members passed by and bowed to Lila. Some looked at Ethan with new respect. Others still looked curious, as if they could not believe a human walked beside their princess. They reached a small observation deck. Big windows showed the stars moving past in slow streaks. A low bench sat near the glass. Lila sat down. Ethan joined her. For a moment, they just looked out. You are no longer just my escort, Lila said quietly. My mother sent a message. She has approved you as my personal guardian. It is rare for an outsider. Ethan turned to her. I didn't ask for that. I know, Lila said, but I ask for you. After what you did, I trust no one else the same way. Ethan looked down at his hands. I'll do the job. Keep you safe. That's all. Lila shook her head. It is more now. You are not like the others. They guard because it is their duty. You guard because you care. Ethan did not answer right away. He thought about his life before this job. Earth, wars, friends he lost. Jobs that paid but never felt right. This felt different. Maybe I do care, he said at last. You're not what I expected. Lila laughed softly. What did you expect? Someone cold, royal, distant. But you're real. Lila looked at the stars. I try to be real. It is hard when everyone watches you. They expect perfection. Ethan nodded. I get that. People expect humans to be tough, never break. But we do break. We just get back up. They talked for a long time. Lila told him about her childhood in the palace. Gardens with glowing flowers. Teachers who taught her to use her mind like a tool. How she always felt alone, even with people around. Ethan told her about growing up at a small town on Earth, playing in dirt streets, learning to fight young because he had to. How his father taught him that protecting others was the only thing worth doing. Days turned into weeks as the ship traveled. Every morning, Ethan trained in a small gym on the lower deck. He lifted weights made for heavier species. He ran on a moving track. His body grew stronger each day. Vexari guards sometimes watched. At first they smiled at the primitive human exercises. Then they started to join him. They learned to push harder. Ethan showed them how to use body weight instead of just energy weapons. One afternoon, Lila came to watch. She stood in the doorway. Ethan finished a set of push-ups and stood up, breathing hard. Sweat ran down his face. You move like fire, Lila said, fast and strong. Ethan wiped his face with a towel. Humans burn hot but short. We're not built for long fights like your people. Lila stepped closer. Show me something. Ethan thought for a second. He picked up a training staff. This is basic. Stand like this. He showed her a simple block and strike. Lila tried. Her movements were smooth but light. More force, Ethan said. He stepped behind her and gently moved her arms. Use your whole body. Lila tried again. The staff moved faster. She smiled. It feels strange, but good. They trained together sometimes after that. Lila learned human ways. Ethan learned small Vexari tricks, how to read a room with quiet thoughts, how to stay calm when danger came close. He could not send thoughts like she could, but he felt her calm wash over him sometimes. It helped. One evening, they sat in Lila's private sitting room. Soft music played, Vexari strings that sounded like wind through trees. Lila held a small box. She opened it. Inside was a dark cloak with silver edges. This is a guardian cloak, she said. Only given to those who swear to protect the royal line forever. Ethan looked at it. I'm not Vexari. You do not need to be, Lila said. She stood and placed the cloak over his shoulders. It felt light but strong. It is my choice, not the court's. Ethan looked down at the cloak. What does this mean? It means you stay with me, Lila said. Not just for this trip, for as long as you want. Ethan met her eyes. I want to stay. Lila's hand rested on his arm for a moment. Neither moved. The music filled the quiet. Later that night, Ethan sat alone on the observation deck. He thought about what was happening. He was a human from Earth. She was a princess from an ancient empire. Worlds apart. But something pulled them closer. Not just duty, not just thanks. Something real. The next day, Lila taught him a Vexari song. The words were soft and hard to say. Ethan tried. His voice was rough compared to hers. She laughed when he got the sounds wrong. Then she sang an Earth song he taught her weeks before. Her voice made it sound new and strange, but beautiful. Crew members noticed. Whispers started in the halls. The princess spends much time with the human. She gave him a cloak. They trained together. Some smiled. Some frowned. Old guards said it was not proper. Younger ones said it was good. New strength for old ways. One guard, Kale, spoke to Ethan in the gym. "You make her happy," he said. "We see it. But be careful. Not everyone likes change." Ethan nodded. "I know. I'll keep her safe. From rebels, from anything." Kale looked serious. "Even from us?" Ethan did not answer, but he understood. As the ship drew closer to the homeworld, the bond between Ethan and Leela grew stronger. Small touches, shared looks, quiet talks late at night. Leela felt safe in a way she never had. Ethan felt needed in a way that filled an old, empty space inside him. The palace waited ahead. Big decisions waited too. But for now, on the ship among the stars, two people from different worlds found something worth holding on to. They stood together at the big window one last time before landing. Leela's hand brushed his. Neither pulled away. "For everything." Ethan looked at her. "Thank you," he said, "for letting me stay." The stars outside slowed. The homeworld appeared. A blue-green planet with rings of light around it. Home for her. New ground for him. Something was growing between them. Quiet, strong, real. The royal flagship landed gently on the wide platform of the Imperial Palace. The palace stood high on a mountain of smooth white stone. Towers rose into the sky like thin silver needles. Rings of soft light circled the planet below. Crowds gathered far below to welcome Princess Lila home. Flags waved in the thin air. Music floated up from hidden speakers. Ethan Hayes stepped out behind Lila. He wore the dark guardian cloak she had given him. It fit well over his shoulders. His scars were hidden now, but he still moved carefully. The palace air smelled clean and sweet, like fresh rain on flowers. Guards in bright armor lined the path. They bowed low as Lila passed. Their eyes flicked to Ethan. Some showed respect, others showed doubt. Lila walked tall and calm. Inside, her heart beat fast. She knew what waited. Her mother, Queen Alara Voss, had called for a private meeting as soon as they arrived. No crowds, no long welcome speeches. Just the Queen and her closest advisors. They entered a large hall with high ceilings. Walls glowed with soft purple light. A long table stood in the center. Queen Alara sat at the far end. She looked like an older version of Lila, taller, with sharper features and eyes that missed nothing. Her robe was deep black with gold threads. A heavy crown rested on her head. Two advisors stood behind her, silent and still. Lila stopped in front of the table. Ethan stood a step back, like a guard should. He kept his face calm. "Welcome home, daughter," Queen Alara said. Her voice was smooth but cold. "The Empire is glad you are safe." "Thank you, Mother," Lila answered. "I am glad to be back." The Queen's eyes moved to Ethan. "And this is the human, Ethan Hayes." Ethan bowed his head slightly. "Your Majesty." Queen Alara studied him for a long moment. "You saved my daughter. The reports are clear. You stood against rebels when others fell. The Empire owes you thanks." Ethan said nothing. He waited. "But thanks is one thing," the Queen continued. "What comes next is another." Lila stepped forward. "Mother, Ethan is my chosen guardian now. I gave him the cloak. He has proven himself." Queen Alara raised one hand. "I know what you gave him. I also know our laws. Our bloodline is pure. Our ways are old. We do not mix with species that cannot share thoughts. Humans have no telepathy. They live short lives. They act on feeling more than reason." Ethan felt the words like a hit, but he kept quiet. Lila's voice grew stronger. "He acted with more reason than anyone when the attack came. He saved me. He saved the peace talks. That should count for something." It counts, the queen said. That is why he will be honored. A medal, a place on a transport back to human space, credits for his service. But he will not stay here. You cannot send him away. I can, Queen Alara said, and I will. The court watches, the nobles talk. They already whisper about the human who stands too close to the princess. They fear change. They fear weakness. I will not let one man, even a brave one, risk the stability of the empire. Ethan spoke for the first time. His voice was low and even. Your Majesty, I never asked to stay forever. If my presence causes trouble, I'll go. I won't make things hard for Leela. Leela turned to him fast. No, you will not go. The queen looked between them. She saw the way Leela's hand almost reached for Ethan's. She saw the look in her daughter's eyes. Something soft, something deep. You care for him, Queen Alara said quietly. It was not a question. Leela lifted her chin. I do. Not just as a guard, as a friend, as someone who makes me feel safe, as someone who sees me, not just the crown. The queen stood up slowly. Her steps were silent on the smooth floor. She stopped in front of Ethan. Tell me, human, do you love my daughter? Ethan met her eyes without fear. I respect her. I protect her. If that means love, then yes, but I would never ask for more than she wants to give. Queen Alara turned to Lila. You would risk your place in line for him? I would risk more than that, Lila said. I would risk the old ways if it means building something stronger. Silence filled the hall. The advisors shifted but said nothing. Queen Alara looked out a tall window. The planet's rings glowed in the distance. The rebels grow bold, she said at last. They attack our ships. They poison our wells of trust. We need allies. Humans are strong in ways we are not, but tradition binds us. She turned back. I will not allow a full bond, not yet. The court would tear itself apart. But I will not send you away today, Ethan Hayes. You may stay as temporary guardian. Until the next full council meeting. Then, we decide. Leela's shoulders relaxed a little. Thank you, Mother. Do not thank me too soon, the Queen said. There are eyes everywhere. Rebels still hide among us. If they see weakness, they will strike. Ethan nodded. I understand. I'll keep her safe. Queen Alara looked at him one more time. See that you do, or the next attack may come from inside these walls. The meeting ended. Leela and Ethan left the hall together. They walked down a quiet corridor lined with glowing plants. Leela's hands shook now that the tension was over. She did not say yes, Leela whispered, but she did not say no forever. Ethan looked at her. That's something. We have time. They stopped near a balcony that looked over the palace gardens. Flowers glowed in soft colors below. The air was warm. Leela turned to him. I meant what I said. I care for you, more than duty, more than thanks. Ethan took her hand gently. I know. I feel the same. For a moment they stood close. No words, just the sound of wind and distant music. But trouble was already moving. That night, small acts began. A guard found a cut wire in the palace power grid. Someone left a false message in the communication logs. Rebels tested the walls. They looked for weak spots. The next morning, Ethan trained alone in a private yard. He practiced with his pistol and staff. Sweat ran down his face. He thought about the Queen's words. He thought about Leela's hand in his. He knew staying would not be easy. Leela joined him later. She wore simple training clothes. They worked together again. Blocks, strikes, quiet talks between moves. You do not have to fight for this, Ethan said. Your place is safe without me. Leela stopped. My place means nothing if I lose what matters. You matter. Then we face it together. She nodded. Days passed. The palace felt different now. Some nobles smiled at Ethan. Others turned away. Whispers grew louder. The human stays too long. The princess forgets her duty. Tradition must hold. Queen Alara watched from her tower. She saw the division. She felt the danger. She wondered if one human could really change an empire, or break it. Outside the palace, the rebels planned their next move. They knew about the human. They knew the queen hesitated. They saw a chance. Inside, Ethan and Leela held on to each other. Their bond grew stronger in the shadows of doubt. But the time for decisions came closer. The council meeting waited, and with it, the queen's final word. The day of the full imperial council arrived. The great hall of the palace was packed. Rows of seats rose high on both sides. Nobles in bright robes sat straight and silent. Advisors stood near the walls. Guards lined the doors with energy weapons ready. Soft purple light filled the room from glowing panels in the ceiling. At the front, a wide platform held 3 thrones. Queen Alara sat in the center. Lila sat to her right. An empty seat waited on the left, for tradition, not for anyone yet. Ethan Hayes stood behind Lila's throne. He wore the dark guardian cloak over his uniform. His face showed no fear. His hands rested easy at his sides. He scanned the room slowly. He saw the looks, some warm, some cold. Whispers moved through the crowd like wind. Queen Alara raised her hand. The hall went quiet. "We gather to decide the future of the royal guard," she said. Her voice carried clear and strong. "Princess Lila has chosen a human as her personal guardian. Tradition says no. Our blood must stay pure. Our ways must stay old. But the Empire faces new threats. Rebels grow stronger every day." She looked at Leela. "Daughter, speak." Leela stood up. She wore a robe of deep silver. Her crown shone bright. "Mother, Council, I stand before you to ask for change. Ethan Hayes saved my life. He took blasts meant for me. He fought when others could not. He has guarded me since then with honor and care. He is not Vexari, but he is loyal. He is strong. He makes me stronger. I choose him to stand at my side, not just now, but always. If that means I lose my place in line, I accept it." Gasps filled the room. Nobles leaned forward. Some shook their heads. Others looked thoughtful. Queen Alara's face stayed calm. "You would give up the throne for a human?" "I would give up anything for what is right," Leela said. "The Empire needs new strength. Humans have it. Ethan has it. We cannot keep hiding behind old walls when enemies break them down." A noble stood up, an old man with white lines on his skin. "This is madness. Our line has ruled for thousands of years without outsiders. One brave act does not change blood." Another noble, younger, stood too. "One brave act saved the princess. It saved the peace. We saw the reports. We heard the guards. The humans stood when our best fell." Arguments started. Voices rose. The hall filled with noise. Queen Alara raised her hand again. Silence came slow. "We will hear from the guardian himself." All eyes turned to Ethan. He stepped forward 1 step. He spoke clear and steady. "I am not here to take anything. I am here to give. I swore to protect Princess Leela. I will keep that promise. If you send me away, I will go. But know this, I will always come back if she needs me. Humans do not forget. We do not quit. We fight for the people we care about. That is all I have to say." He stepped back. The hall stayed quiet for a long moment. Queen Alara looked at her daughter, then at Ethan. She opened her mouth to speak. Before the words came out, the lights flickered. A low hum filled the air. Then a sharp crack sounded from high above. A hidden panel in the ceiling opened. A rebel in black armor dropped down. He held a long energy rifle. Behind him 2 more followed. They aimed straight at the platform. "Death to the old ways," the leader shouted. "Death to the princess and the queen." He fired. A bright red bolt shot toward Lila. Ethan moved faster than thought. He jumped in front of her. The bolt hit his shoulder. Pain burned hot. He did not fall. He pushed Lila down behind the throne. Then he turned. The second bolt came. Ethan took it on the chest. His cloak smoked. He grunted, but stayed on his feet. Guards rushed forward. One aimed at the queen. Ethan pulled his pistol. He fired once. The shot hit the rebel's hand. The rifle fell. Ethan charged. He tackled the leader to the ground. They rolled. The rebel pulled a knife. Ethan blocked it with his arm. Blood ran down. He slammed his fist into the rebel's face. The attacker went still. The third rebel turned to run. A Vexari guard shot him in the leg. He dropped. The hall exploded into action. More guards poured in. They secured the rebels. Medics ran to the platform. Ethan knelt on one knee. Blood dripped from his arm and shoulder. Smoke rose from his cloak. He looked at Leela. "You okay?" Leela crawled out from behind the throne. Her eyes were wide. She touched his face. "You did it again. You took the hits again." Ethan gave a weak smile. "Told you. I don't quit." Queen Alara stood up slowly. She looked at the dead and wounded rebels, then at Ethan. Blood covered his uniform. He still tried to stand. The hall watched in silence. Queen Alara walked to Ethan. She placed a hand on his good shoulder. "You have guarded my daughter twice now, with your body, with your life. No Vexari has done more." She turned to the council. "Look at this human. He bleeds for us. He stands when we fall. Tradition is important, but survival is more. The Empire needs strength like this. We will not throw it away." She looked at Lila. "Daughter, your choice is bold, but today it is proven right." Lila stood beside Ethan. She held his hand tight. Queen Alara spoke loud so all could hear. "From this day, Ethan Hayes is named Eternal Guardian of the Air. He will stand at Princess Lila's side, not as outsider, as family. The Council will rewrite the old laws. Humans may join us, not to replace us, but to stand with us." Cheers started slow, then they grew. Some nobles clapped, others stayed quiet. But no one argued. Medics helped Ethan to a seat. They worked on his wounds. Lila stayed close. She held his hand the whole time. Later, after the hall emptied, they walked to a high balcony. The night sky spread wide. The planet's rings glowed silver. The city below sparkled with lights. Ethan leaned on the rail. His arm was in a sling now. Bandages covered fresh burns, but he stood tall. Lila stood beside him. "You almost died, again." "Worth it," Ethan said. "You're safe. That's what matters." Lila looked at him. "I love you, Ethan Hayes, not because you saved me, because you see me, because you stay." Ethan turned to her. "I love you too, Lila. Not because you're a princess, because you're you." They stood close. The wind moved soft around them. Queen Alara watched from a doorway far back. She saw them together. She saw the way they looked at each other. A small smile touched her lips. But it was real. She turned and walked away. The Empire would change. Slowly, but it would change. On the balcony, Ethan and Lila looked out at the stars. A new path waited. Together. The human had guarded the princess from the attack. Now the queen no longer refused to let him stay.